Welcome, friends. This is Curate and Upgrade. It's a show that is usable in your day, let me tell you, because it's all about upgrading you. That is Jonathan Nan, and he is a hypnotist and much, much more. And welcome to the show. Hey, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me here, and welcome, curators. Thank you for joining me again. This is episode number 2, so I'm glad that you made it through the first one and that you're still here.
I'll recommend that you subscribe to the show. Share it with a friend. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. Hit the notification button, and that'll let you know when a new episode has been posted. What's going on today? We are into this now.
Yeah, we're getting into this. So now that we're into it, let's back up a little bit. I'm going to start talking a little bit about my personal story.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get to know me a little bit, just so that I'm not some guy coming over your earphones.
Yeah, in fact, I see you before me, but you're just a hologram to
That's
others.
true. That's true.
Who are you, Jonathan Nan?
Who am I? Well, I think personal development has always been a big focus in my life. I think a lot of people have that focus, or at least the people that are around me. And we always want to get better and better at many different things. A lot of the times that started out in my younger life as going and trying to learn new things. So I was into music, playing instruments, martial arts, sleight of hand magic, as well as, exercise and physical conditioning, that type of thing. But as I grew up, if I'm grown up now, when do we ever really grow up? Really?
Hopefully we don't entirely.
Yeah. You know what? That was one thing that I told myself when I was young, that I would never grow up. And I think I'm pretty successful at that still.
Excellent.
However, let's pretend that I grew up somewhat, and I would find myself in situations that would cause kind of anxiety and discomfort, and I wouldn't really know how to deal with them. And the only way that I could deal with them was just ignore them, push them down, and just pretend they didn't existed. So then that was not a very good way of doing things. I don't know how many of you out there actually do stuff like that, but I can fast forward you a couple of years, and it's not the best way of managing things. And one of the big catalysts that helped me move forward was meeting my wife, right? You enter into a new relationship. You have to learn to interact with another person in a way that is good for you as well as good for them. Like, you don't want to annoy them or make them angry or piss them off.
Entirely, yeah.
Right. Especially if you like them or even love them, maybe. I do.
Yeah.
I love you, Adrian.
Well placed.
Thank you. So, we've been together for 15 years, and over that time, I've made a lot of different progress, right? Growing and kind of becoming more aware of my feelings and all of that. But 15 years is a long time to spend working through that kind of thing. And even up until last year, it was still a challenge at some times. So about a year ago, just over a year ago, I became trained as a hypnotist. I was exposed to hypnosis. And I have to tell you, in terms of the amount of change and progress that I've made in the last year, it's like night and day. And being able to identify different things within myself has been so useful and so resourceful. So there's really some power in this, because a lot of it is, sure, you might think about it as like influence or someone's like making you do something, but really nobody can make you do anything. Like, if you really don't want to do something, you're not going to do it, right? Like, that's
Fair
the fact.
enough.
So I think a lot of times we think about like having to talk about a problem, talk about an issue to make it go away. And sometimes what happens is, the more that you talk about something, the more entrenched it gets, right? If you're bringing up a negative feeling or a negative story, something that happened to you that really upsets you, and you keep talking about it, and sometimes you might ruminate on it, you just make that feeling grow, and it just becomes like that negative state is easier to access, right? A lot of times you say practice makes perfect, and that goes the same way for negative emotions and negative states. If you practice it more, it's easier to recall that, and then you just find yourself more easily slipping into that. But how would it be if you could just quickly change that? And it's not to say that, it's not to discount any of those emotions. Those are real things that you were experiencing, or these are real emotions that I was experiencing. And it's important to learn from them. But
after a while, they can be static
yeah,
all around you.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because even in the words that you use, that they're static and they're all around you. Like if you were to do this, like we can do a quick visualization, kind of like a imagination game, you could call it. If you were to think about something negative right now, right? And you could, see that situation in front of you and freeze it at the peak time, right? Take a look at that. And, if you're driving, keep your eyes open. But even with your eyes open or closed, think about how big that image is. And is that negative situation all around you, right? And then notice how clear it might be, if there's full color in it, and how all that makes you feel. And now, if you were to let the color drain out of that image, and if it was to begin to get grainy and harder to see, and then that thing that's all around you right now, if you just took it and shrunk it down really tiny, as small as you could, you can even put a frame around it, like a little 4x8 picture or even wallet size, right? And you have that. And notice how that makes you feel and how different that makes you feel, right? And then you push that picture far away from you and you can leave it there. And anytime that you are accessing that image, just recall that it's that far away. It's even better if you put it behind you, somewhere where you can't see. And then now, on the flip side of that, if you think about a positive memory, right? Something that you really want to recall and make vivid and make that all around you. Why would you surround yourself? What does surrounding yourself with that negative emotion, those feelings do for you? Probably nothing good. So you take that positive state and make that image, see that image clearly in your mind, and bring up the color, turn it into full HD, crystal clear, make the colors nice and bright and saturated, and make it big, and put that all around you. And now instead of having that negative thing all around you, you have positivity, happy, whatever you're feeling, that image, and you walk around with that. And that's working. It's interesting because you think about something that we call submodalities, which is kind of like the visual, the audio, and the feeling of your thoughts and your emotions, right? And that's one part of things. That's one thing that you access in hypnosis to just quickly change feelings. Because if you think about a problem, right? You're like, oh, I have a big problem, right? In your mind, it's big. It's actually big. You said it's big. So then what if you took that big problem and shrunk it down? What if you made yourself big so that when you're looking down at that problem, it's actually nothing, so that you can go forward and do something about it? And, this is all just in your imagination, but it's feelings. Like, would you rather approach a big problem in a small state, or would you rather feel big and tall as you approach that, so that you know that you can do all the things that you need to do to solve that? So that's some fun. And I think
that's a different way to look at the big picture.
That's right. That's right. And looking at the big picture again is what it's all about, because when you have that thing that you're stuck on, right? You're focused, you're like stuck in on that one particular thing. But if you take a moment and step back and look at the big picture, what else do you notice in that picture?
Fascinating.
That's right.
All right, let's do more of this again.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on Curate and Upgrade. Jonathan Nan, where can people reach out to you?
Follow me on Facebook at Curate and Upgrade, or find me on Instagram at Curate and Upgrade as well. And just for you podcast listeners, find me at curateandupgrade.ca /pod offer for some awesome stuff just for you.